Most Americans don't seem to realize to what extent people abroad, especially in Europe and in every town and village in the Ukraine, are closely watching the current events in the United States and with growing concern. The assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump seems only likely to intensify the existing divisions in the United States. People like me, a South African living on Mallorca in the Mediterranean, are perplexed. I talk to many friends and family in the United States and have noticed in recent times families breaking up and lifelong friendships being terminated over these political divisions. The perception has always been that the United States is a creatively free, dynamic, tolerant, multicultural nation of boundless opportunity and human endeavor. The US has gifted the world with some of the best music, art, and technological inventions. Just take the internet, for example. How is it then possible that the world's arguably most powerful and successful nation in economic and military terms can so lose the plot over issues such as basic democratic norms, women's rights, and religious freedom? Events in the United States have vast geopolitical consequences, considering the military and political power wielded by the person in power in the White House. With a GDP of $26 trillion in 2023, the American economy far surpassed the world's second largest economy, China, with a GDP of $19 trillion, followed by the economies of Germany, Japan, and India. The US defense budget alone was about $813 billion last year and is by far the largest in the world. Compared to countries like Russia, China, and India, the US military is more powerful and technologically advanced. As an outsider looking at events in the United States, here are some of my thoughts. Despite a booming economy, it appears that a significant portion of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. There is a perception that they will never live the American dream, and most of them won't. There is this belief that the system is rigged against them by elites in Washington and New York. And these people are particularly prone to nostalgia rhetoric that promotes the idea of a once great America that has degenerated into chaos. American media plays a large role in fixing people's minds and beliefs. In the past, the American media was a prime example of good journalism and fact-checking. There was a clear distinction between news and editorial comment. The digital revolution has basically killed off professional journalism in the United States. Mass media in America earns its revenues with entertainment and drama, rather than educating and informing. News channels from both the left and the right are propagandistic in nature and serve two different perspectives of reality. The tribal bubbles are served by algorithms on social media, emphasizing confirmation bias and grievance culture. Beliefs are cemented, and other viewpoints and even solid science are rejected as fake news. Then there is the factor of Russian and Chinese bot factories playing a significant role in fanning these divisions, fears, hate, and anxieties through social media as part of their broad information warfare against the West. Russian bots were particularly successful in promoting the Russian narrative on the war in Ukraine, with US congressmen on the right. When America turns more inward with an America First philosophy and withdraws from such established institutions like NATO that have preserved peace in Central Europe for the past 75 years, the consequences are just too ghastly to contemplate. The globalized economy has become increasingly intertwined. Disruptions of markets elsewhere will inevitably have a major impact on the man in Detroit or Phoenix. The power void, make no mistake, will be filled by other forces, especially China and Russia. Of particular concern in Europe and many other countries is a possible withdrawal of American military support for Ukraine. The retired U.S. commanding officer of U.S. forces in Europe, Ben Hodges, paints a devastating scenario if Ukraine should lose the war against Russia.
We would be totally foolish to believe that Russia is in any way a reliable negotiating partner. If there is a total failure and Russia wins this war, then they have said what comes next. They have said that they will go to Moldova and other probably Baltic countries. I do imagine that Russia would force thousands of Ukrainian troops into the Russian army, that they would be absorbed against their will to be used as cannon fodder. And of course, there'll be millions of refugees from Ukraine heading into Poland and Germany. So it would be a terrible situation for Europe. NATO will end up being in the conflict. And of course, this is all totally avoidable.
To my American friends, I say, your decision in November this year will have a major impact on lives in all parts of the world. Who ultimately, I ask, will benefit from the hatred and division in your country? Will America serve as a beacon for the rule of law, tolerance, and democratic norms, or serve as a template for the dictatorships of Russia and China on why democracy doesn't work?